The woman merely gave a middle finger to other concubines at the palace banquet, and was recognized as a Chuan Yu Nu by the emperor, and thrown into a water pit like trash. When she lost her life, the emperor ordered me a cold palace maid to bury her. I wasn't afraid at all. Picked up the iron shovel and started digging. Because I had buried 99 transmigrators in 3 years, an imperial decree was issued. Li Wei, proceed to the burial ground behind the cold palace immediately. The 100th Yi Shi must not be mistaken. Anyone who disobeys will be punished for defying the imperial decree. The chief eunuch shrieked, his voice filled with menace. I knelt, my forehead touching the cold blue bricks, my face expressionless, only the fingertips of my hands by my side, unconsciously curled. This servant obeys the decree. My voice as steady as a stagnant pool, but my mind was racing. The 100th one has finally arrived. As I stood up, I directly grabbed the shovel from the corner. Its iron blade caked with dried mud. Please, auntie, this way. Don't keep us waiting. Li Dequan followed behind, his tone sarcastic. I didn't reply, my steps mechanical as I walked towards the burial ground behind the cold palace. That overgrown patch of weeds. 2 guards were escorting a figure. The person's eyes were covered, their clothes tattered. Hurry up, what are you dawdling for? The guards barked roughly. They pushed the person towards the pit. I stopped. Li Dequan immediately urged, auntie, don't just stand there. His Majesty is waiting for a reply in the palace. Before I could speak, the guards roughly pulled off the blindfold. Under the bright light, he squinted sharply, his terrified eyes meeting mine directly. I looked up at him coldly. Accept your death obediently. Don't struggle pointlessly. Su Wan's sharp eyes swept over me, fixing on my face. She let out a low laugh. What are you pretending for? You're a transmigrator too, aren't you? I feigned composure, my brow furrowed slightly. Mind your own business and stay put. She leaned close to my ear, whispering a threat. You think your disguise is flawless. When you picked up the shovel, I clearly saw a neat thin callus on the pad of your middle finger. That's a callus formed from years of holding a pen to write. If you don't save me, it'll expose you to them. Li Wei. Li Dequan's voice suddenly rose, filled with suspicion. Why are you dawdling? Are you trying to defy the imperial decree? Or are you also a transmigrator? I didn't dare to linger, quickly raising the shovel, my expression seemingly calm, but my palms were already sweating. Please, eunuch, calm your anger. This servant merely made a mistake just now. This servant only made a mistake for a moment. No other intentions. I suddenly raised the iron shovel and dug down the first shovel of soil fiercely. The soil splashed onto Su Wan's shoulders. She stared at me intently and roared, do you believe it'll expose you right now? Go to hell. The force in my hands grew heavier. Li Dequan stood behind watching coldly. That's more like it. The wise know when to submit to circumstances. Don't ruin your future because of a drunken woman. I swung the shovel with astonishing speed. Su Wan's roars gradually weakened. That's more like it. Li Dequan watched for a moment and let out a satisfied hum. Li Wei disposed of it quickly. Well, report back to His Majesty. I swung the iron shovel expressionlessly. The dull thud of soil hitting a body echoed in the vast silent burial ground. The burial was complete. I called for guards to inspect. After confirming, we got up and returned to the palace. I touched my palm. My fingertips touched the callus left by writing. I fiercely tore off that callus. The pain instantly surged. The conversation with Su Wan earlier would surely make Eunuch Li suspicious. Even if I acted as obedient as possible, he would never truly let down his guard. Before I had walked half a corridor, a young eunuch hurried forward, bowing his head, and said respectfully, Anti-Eunuch Li summons you to the side hall of the imperial study. He said His Majesty misses your diligent service and your careful attention. My heart tightened. My fingertips imperceptibly clenched into a fist. Being summoned now must be a new round of testing. I suppressed the vigilance in my heart and maintained my usual numb and obedient demeanor, bowing in response. Thank you, eunuch. I'll go now. The side hall of the imperial study. The hall door was tightly shut. Not even guards were in sight. The young eunuch lightly knocked on the door. Eunuch Li Wei, auntie is here. Li Dequan's shrill voice came from inside the hall. I pushed the door open. There was no one else in the hall. Only Li Dequan sitting at the desk, playing with a brocade box. With a faint smile on his face, I immediately knelt and bowed, and said humbly, may I ask what instructions eunuch has for this servant? Li Dequan slowly put down the brocade box. Get up, I summoned you here, because His Majesty appreciates your diligent service over the past 3 years. And your dedicated attention as a maid. He specifically asked me to prepare some rewards for you. But before I reward you, I have a small item I'd like you to take a look at. I slowly stood up, and stood to the side with my eyes lowered, my hands clasped in front of my abdomen. Li Dequan opened the brocade box, and took out a cheap plastic lighter, holding the body of the lighter between his fingers. He looked at me with a smile. Li Wei, do you know what this is? This was found on a sorceress before. The miscellaneous family looked strange, so I stayed. My gaze fell on the lighter. I timidly replied, Your Highness, your servant is dull. Looking at this object, it looks like a painting. It's just that the color is strange. It's neither as transparent as glass, nor as warm as jade. Your servant has never seen such a thing. Li Dequan did not speak. He just pressed the lighter. A cluster of dark blue flames suddenly shot out. He stared into my eyes. His tone deepened. Look again. This box can even spit fire. I immediately feigned terror, and knelt on the ground. Kowtowed repeatedly. Your Highness, forgive me. This is a demon. It can create fire out of thin air. It is an evil object used by that demoness to sow chaos in the palace. Your servant is terrified. Please, Your Highness, destroy it quickly, lest it bring disaster. That genuine fear made Li Dequan's suspicion fade slightly. He chuckled, and put away the lighter. Before I could get up, he paused, his lips moved, and he uttered an English sentence in a very standard pronunciation. How are you? I almost reflexively blurted out I am fine. Thank you. Seeing him staring at me intently, I swallowed the words back down. I almost choked and injured myself internally. I looked up blankly, my brows furrowed tightly. Your Highness, what foreign language are you speaking? Your servant is ignorant. I don't understand a word. Please, Your Highness, enlighten me. Li Dequan stared at me for a long time. Then he slowly put everything away. His tone softened. Never mind, never mind. It seems I was overthinking. I said, you are a decent person. How could you be involved with those demonesses? He waved his hand. I'll give you a reward another day. You may withdraw for now. Rest well. If there's any business later, I'll find you again. I bowed and saluted. My tone was respectful. Your servant obeys. I turned and walked out of the side hall. Only when I was far away did I quietly exhale. Li Dequan's probing step-by-step questioning had drained all my energy. I thought I could use this period of quiet to avoid the storm and have a few peaceful days. But I never expected that. In just 2 short days, a considerable stir would arise in the palace. The newly promoted maiden Lu Ruolin, with her unique skill, quickly rose to prominence. She mixed oil and alkali with spices to create delicate bars of scented soap. Not only were they effective at cleaning, but they also nourished the skin, earning the favor of the concubines. The emperor himself specially summoned me, praising my ingenuity, bestowing constant rewards, making me the most prominent new talent in the palace. What kind of fragrant soap? Clearly it's modern soap. I only thought he was another transmigrator who didn't know how to restrain himself. Watching coldly from the sidelines, but didn't realize at all that a conspiracy against me was approaching step by step. This day I was ordered to deliver something to the imperial garden. As soon as I reached the pavilion, I was stopped by a charming figure. Lu Ruolin had a gentle smile on her face, followed by a group of workers, exuding an imposing aura. Before I could even bow, he affectionately took my hand. His fingertip lightly traced a line in my palm. It was a very simple symbol, only modern people would understand. My whole body stiffened. I abruptly pulled my hand back and curtsied, my voice trembling. Your Majesty, please forgive my offense. This servant was rude, but Lu Ruolin acted as if nothing had happened, only smiling gently. Auntie's hands have been working hard for years, making one feel pity, but your eyes resemble a deceased friend of mine. He leaned closer and whispered, in a voice only we could hear. Li Wei. Long time no see. This voice, this tone, and even the sharpness in his eyes, all seemed familiar. My mind churned wildly, but I couldn't grasp the familiar outline for a moment. We know each other. Why did he come at me with undisguised killing intent? He didn't say anything more, just gently patted my arm and turned to leave. A few days later, the emperor held a banquet in the imperial garden. Lu Ruolin stood by his side. The emperor, in a moment of inspiration, ordered paper and brush to be brought and posed an arithmetic problem. There are a certain number of chickens and rabbits in a cage. Given the total number of heads and the total number of feet, how many chickens and rabbits are there? After posing the question, he smiled and questioned Lu Ruolin. Lu Ruolin pretended to ponder, and after a moment smiled faintly, turning to look at me. Your Majesty, this servant is dull, only understanding some basic needlework. But Aunt Li Wei has been managing the palace's miscellaneous affairs for years, and accounting should be her forte. Why don't we ask Auntie to try? With those words, he pushed me into the spotlight. This problem from Your Majesty is clearly the chicken and rabbit in a cage from modern textbooks. But I cannot reveal an inch of it. If I cannot solve it, I will be considered a useless person who cannot even manage the palace's miscellaneous affairs. At best, I will lose my position as the head aunt. At worst, I will be beaten and banished, falling into an abyss of eternal damnation. Either way, I cannot escape death. Suppressing the storm in my heart, I bowed and replied, this servant is dull. I can only try to solve it. If there is any impropriety, please forgive me, Your Majesty. I took the hemp rope and charcoal, deliberately used the most clumsy knot tying technique, drew diagrams on the ground deducing step by step. A thin sweat beaded on my forehead, appearing extremely strained. It took a full half-hour to painstakingly calculate the answer. The emperor glanced over and nodded faintly. Not bad, though you're not particularly quick-witted. You are extremely steady. Lu Ruolin's smile remained unchanged, but a cold glint flashed in her eyes. The plan failed, but he had already devised a second plan in his heart. On this day, an urgent report arrived from the border. A plague was rampant in the border areas, and the number of infected people was increasing daily. The military doctors were at a loss and anxious, requesting the court to send capable individuals to diagnose and treat. For a time, the court and the public were in a panic. The emperor was even more troubled. Ruolin voluntarily requested an audience, presenting her strategy: burn the corpses and bury them deep. Drink boiled water. Rinse your mouth with vinegar. Wash your hands with strong liquor. He claimed it was a family heirloom, a shamanic technique for dispelling plagues, each word fitting the ancient understanding. The emperor was overjoyed, and immediately ordered its implementation. The epidemic at the border indeed eased slightly. Lu Ruolin enjoyed immense favor for a time, unrivaled by anyone, and I stood in the corner, my heart as clear as a mirror. Once he gained a firm foothold, he would move against me. That night, an anonymous letter was delivered to the imperial study. The letter contained no simplified characters, no modern blueprints, only one sentence: Chong is Aunt Li Wei. A painting is hidden in the room. Strange noises at night. This is the same as before. A demon is working with them. While I was on duty, Lu Ruolin sent someone to secretly place a bag of unknown incense ash and several talismans with strange patterns Under my pillow, the talismans looked like crows or bones, clearly resembling demonic objects. The next day I was urgently summoned to the imperial study. That bag of incense ash and talismans were violently thrown before me. The emperor's face was as dark as iron. Li Wei, what is this? Lu Ruolin knelt beside him, her eyes slightly red, her tone earnest. Your Majesty, this servant dares not believe it, but these items are exactly the same as the evil sorcery used by that otherworldly demoness before. And why would she hide such lewd and sacred objects? With one sentence, he sealed my fate as a demoness. My face turned pale. I knelt and kowtowed. Your Majesty, this servant is wronged. But the emperor no longer believed. Caught red-handed, he no longer hesitated in the slightest, sternly shouting. The demoness Li Wei intended to rebel, secretly harboring demonic arts, attempting to sow chaos in the court. Drag her out and behead her. The guards responded and stepped forward, cold iron chains locking my wrists. Lu Ruolin lowered her gaze. Lu Ruolin lowered her eyes, concealing the smile of certainty in my eyes. Just as I was about to be dragged out of the imperial study, I suddenly looked up, screaming with all my might. Your Majesty, the imperial seal is just a frame-up, but I am the only one in the world who can make the plague medicine. If you kill me, millions of soldiers on the border will surely die. Beneath the dragon robe, his body trembled slightly. Lu Ruolin's face changed drastically. Hurriedly kowtowed. Your Majesty, he is merely lingering on. The words of a demoness are not to be trusted. I slowly raised my head, meeting the emperor's gaze. Believe it or not, you will know in 7 days. If I cannot produce the medicine to cure the plague within 7 days, there is no need for your Majesty to give an order. I will atone for my sins myself. If I can do it, I beg your Majesty to spare my worthless life. I am not betting on mercy. I am betting that he cannot afford to lose his empire, cannot afford to lose the morale of the army, and even less can afford to lose this world. The hall was dead silent. The emperor frowned, staring at me. His gaze was as sharp as an eagle's, as if trying to see through me. The candlelight in the hall flickered, reflecting his unpredictable face. After a long while he slowly closed his eyes. When he opened them again, the struggle in his eyes was replaced by determination. I will trust you this time. 7 days is the deadline. If you cannot produce the divine medicine, you will be torn apart by 5 horses. Your entire clan will be implicated. A cold decree was immediately drawn up. A vermilion jade seal was heavily stamped. Every word was like a death warrant etched into my heart. The guards removed the blades from my neck, but they put heavy shackles on my feet. The cold metal pressed against my ankles. Every step I took made a harsh sound. I was escorted out of the imperial study, walking all the way to the most secluded courtyard of the imperial hospital. Here high walls stood tall, surrounded by imperial guards, heavily guarded. It was difficult for even a fly to escape. It seemed like I had saved my life, but in reality I had gone from a dead person to a savior carrying the hope of the world. Behind the temporary safety was a mountain of pressure and death that could descend at any moment. The emperor's distrust was far greater than I had imagined. That afternoon, Lu Ruolin entered the courtyard with several palace maids. Her makeup was exquisite. Looking at the shackles on my feet, her eyes were full of mockery. Sister Li Wei, His Majesty knows that you have worked hard to develop the divine medicine, so he specifically sent me to assist you. From now on, if you have any needs, just ask me. His tone was gentle, but his words were full of provocation. I knew he wasn't here to assist. He was clearly here to monitor me the entire time. If I made the slightest mistake, he would immediately report it to His Majesty and put me to death. Living with an enemy day and night, constantly being stared at by a pair of malicious eyes, that sense of oppression was more suffocating than the weight of the shackles. To make matters worse, the imperial physicians of the imperial hospital were even more hostile towards me, this demoness. When I asked them to prepare the tools, the leading imperial physician immediately showed disdain. He snorted coldly. A demoness is a demoness. She only dabbles in unorthodox methods. Can these broken trinkets really create a divine medicine? I think you are clearly putting on a show. To stall for time, they made things difficult for me in every way, either saying the materials were scarce, or deliberately sending inferior items. They even secretly instructed the workers not to cooperate with my requests. Even the simplest material preparation was extremely difficult for me. Only eunuch Li, when he delivered some imperial medicinal herbs as ordered by the emperor, would pause at the courtyard entrance for a moment. I, carrying the foot coverings, squatted in the courtyard, organizing the hard-won materials. The foot coverings dragged on the ground, leaving faint traces. My forehead was covered in fine beads of sweat. Exhausted, but I dared not stop. He stood there quietly, his eyes complex, but he never came forward to help, nor did he say any superfluous words. It was impossible to guess his true thoughts. I had no time to ponder others' thoughts. The deadline loomed like a sharp sword hanging over my head, constantly reminding me that any carelessness on my part would lead to eternal damnation. Relying on the medical knowledge firmly etched in my mind, I pulled over a few unwilling young eunuchs, pointing and instructing them to pour strong liquor into a ceramic jar, seal it with a copper tube and heat it to distill a purer liquor. I dried the mugwort, ground it into powder, and kept it ready with clean rags. What I wanted to do was to purify the strong liquor as a disinfectant, and combine it with mugwort powder to make a hemostatic and anti-infective powder for external wounds. Then I would use the distilled strong liquor to clean the wounds. This is basic wound care in modern times, but it could save countless lives in this era. I worked day and night, resting in a corner for a moment when tired, and gnawing on a few coarse rice cakes when hungry. My body and mind were pushed to their limits, but I dared not slacken in the slightest. I knew this race against time was one I could not afford to lose. This was not just to prolong my own life, but also for the border. For those soldiers struggling to survive the plague. To hold on to their only hope of survival. Even if it meant giving my all. I had to win this gamble. Only 3 days remained until the 7-day deadline. I had successfully distilled high-concentration strong liquor, and the mugwort powder was also ground. Just as I was about to adjust the powder ratio, I noticed something unusual about the mugwort powder placed on the shore. The previously dry and fine powder had become somewhat damp, and was mixed with a small amount of unknown impurities. If used to prepare external wound medicine, it would not only fail to stop bleeding and prevent infection, but would also worsen the wounds festering. "Good morning, sister." Lu Ruolin's voice sounded at the opportune moment. She approached with a bowl of bird's nest soup, smiling. "You've been working hard these past few days. I specifically asked the small kitchen to stew this for nourishment." She put down the soup, and reached out to tidy the medicinal powder beside it. I looked up at her. It just happened to fall into her eyes. A fleeting calculation and disdain. "Thank you for your concern." I took a step back without changing my expression, avoiding her touch. My voice carried a deliberate weariness. "It's just that this medicinal powder is not well prepared. I am afraid it will delay the 7-day deadline." Lu Ruolin raised an eyebrow, pretending to be surprised. "How could this happen? Your Majesty is waiting for your divine medicine. You can't give up halfway." I immediately locked the door. Leaning against the door, I calmed my mind to analyze. Lu Ruolin is arrogant and opportunistic. She absolutely cannot allow me to live to create the medicine. And the night before the crucial purification is her best opportunity. A cold arc curved on my lips. I immediately began to lay the trap. I put the purified high-concentration liquor and medicinal powder into the hidden compartment. Then I placed the previous failures on the table. These baits should lure him in. After doing all this, I deliberately, when Lu Ruolin came again, rubbed my temples in front of her, flipping through medical books with an anxious expression. I didn't even notice when I knocked over the medicine jar. "Sister, why are you doing this to yourself?" Lu Ruolin pretended to support me, her tone laced with schadenfreude. "If it really doesn't work, why not beg for your Majesty's forgiveness? Perhaps you can at least keep your whole body." Lu Ruolin let out a laugh, and turned to leave. Her footsteps were even lighter. The night deepened. The dice in the courtyard struck 3 times. Eunuch Li's voice suddenly came from outside the door. "Your Majesty has ordered me to check on the progress of the divine medicine's development." I quickly went to meet him, deliberately leading him to the cultivation rack, lowering my voice, my tone full of dejection. "Eunuch, I am afraid I will disappoint your Majesty's expectations. There have been frequent problems these past few days. The medicinal powder is always contaminated. I don't think it can be completed within 7 days. How could it be repeatedly contaminated? I don't know either," I said softly, lowering my gaze. "Eunuch, please investigate. The guards here are strict. Besides me, only Lady Lu can enter and exit freely. If I can't produce the divine medicine, who would benefit the most?" I believe Eunuch knows in his heart. Eunuch Li's eyes flickered slightly. He didn't ask further, only saying that he understood. "You work hard." He did not leave, but quietly hid in the storage room on the west side of the laboratory. I knew what I was doing, and immediately returned to the desk, pulled over an outer garment to cover myself, and rested my head in my arms, pretending to be tired and asleep. In less than half an hour, a slender figure sneaked in quietly. It was Lu Ruolin. She held a small cloth bag in her hand, and walked directly to the rack. She let out a cold laugh in a low voice. A cold, low laugh. Fingers crushed the silk pouch. Inside was a white powder. "Destroy these. Let's see what you have to fight me with." Before the words were even out, he raised his hand, and sprinkled the powder onto all the medicinal powders on the shelves. His movements were swift and decisive, showing no mercy. "Lady Lu has a good hand." A cold voice suddenly rang out. Lu Ruolin stiffened. She turned her head sharply. The door to the storage room was pushed open. Eunuch Li walked out slowly. "Eunuch, eunuch." Lu Ruolin's face turned ashen. She hastily hid the silk pouch behind her. "Why are you here? If I hadn't come, how could I have witnessed such a good show?" Eunuch Li waved his hand. The guards immediately stepped forward and grabbed Lu Ruolin's wrist. The bag of powder also fell to the ground, scattering everywhere. I turned and walked towards the desk, bent down and lifted the stone slab, and took out the medicinal powder. I held the medicinal powder and walked up to Eunuch Li. My eyes were filled with grief and indignation. My voice choked with emotion. "Eunuch, this is the real result." Lu Ruolin looked at the medicinal powder. Her pupils contracted sharply. She screamed hysterically. "Impossible, you clearly." Eunuch Li was silent for a long time. He said to the guards in a deep voice, "Take Lady Lu away, and guard her strictly. Report to His Majesty first thing tomorrow morning." "You're framing me." Lu Ruolin was dragged away. Her shrill cries gradually faded. The laboratory finally returned to silence. I carefully put the medicinal powder back into the hidden compartment. I looked up at Eunuch Li, and bowed slightly. "Thank you for your discernment, Eunuch. You are much more capable than this old servant imagined." With that he turned and left. The guards in the courtyard were also replaced. Clearly my subsequent work was tacitly approved. I watched his retreating back, and looked down at the medicinal powder in my hand. The heavy stone that had been hanging in my heart finally fell. The morning of the 7th day, when the first ray of light shone through the laboratory window, I held a bottle of medicinal powder. My fingertips trembled uncontrollably. After 7 days and 7 nights of sleepless purification, the first batch of crude medicinal powder was finally ready. I brought it closer to the lamp to examine it. A light ignited in my eyes. "It's done. This is the divine medicine that can save lives." As soon as the words left my mouth, footsteps were heard from outside the door. Eunuch Li entered with guards. His tone was urgent. "Aunt, His Majesty is eager to test the medicine. Quickly hand over the divine medicine." I handed the bottle of medicine over, and said in a deep voice, eunuch, this medicine can cure the plague, but it needs to be tested on an infected person. To confirm its efficacy, Eunuch Li took the bottle of medicine. His eyes lit up. His Majesty has already made arrangements. A plague-infected patient has been brought in. We're just waiting for your miracle cure. The news quickly spread. Lu Ruolin, who was temporarily detained, was also brought outside the courtyard by guards. He shouted across the bars, full of disdain, Li Wei, stop playing tricks. This useless liquid can't save anyone. You'll die sooner or later. I gave her a cold glance. Too lazy to argue. You'd better watch closely, and see how miserably you lose. Lu Ruolin trembled with anger, but could only watch as the guards left with the medicine bottle. That day the Imperial Hospital was in a panic. The Imperial physicians gathered and discussed, full of doubt, what good can something made by a demoness do? I think it's just for show. There will be trouble sooner or later. I remained silent. This bottle of liquid will eventually subvert their understanding. The next morning, the messenger guard rushed in. His voice loud. Report, the patient with the plague has no more fever, can speak, and is recovering well. The Imperial Hospital exploded. The Imperial physicians' faces changed drastically, full of disbelief. Impossible. How is this possible? In just one night, the plague has improved? They rushed to me, their eyes changing from contempt to reverence, even with a hint of fear. Soon the Emperor personally arrived, followed by Eunuch Li. As soon as he stepped into the courtyard, he burst into laughter. Well done, Li Wei. Well done, miracle cure. You've made a great contribution. He quickly walked up to me, personally unlocked the shackles on my ankles. I appreciate your contribution. From today onwards you are appointed as a level 7 spirit medicine envoy, responsible for the mass production of the miracle cure. I bestow upon you a spirit medicine pavilion, giving you full authority over all matters related to the miracle cure. I bowed and thanked him. When I looked up, my eyes met the Emperor's. He looked at me like a peerless treasure, wanting to keep me firmly in his grasp. My heart sank. I already understood his intentions. Your Majesty's grace, I replied respectfully, but my eyes were clear. The Emperor nodded with a smile, but his tone was sharp. Since you understand the method of the miracle cure, you are a Gongxian of our great Zhou. As long as you serve well, I will not treat you unfairly. At this moment Eunuch Li stepped forward, and whispered, Your Majesty, Lady Lu is jealous of talent and virtue, and secretly sabotaged the research of the miracle cure, nearly endangering the nation. How should she be dealt with? The Emperor's face darkened. He said coldly, strip her of her title as a lady, imprison her in the cold palace, and never allow her to leave the palace again. Upon hearing this, Lu Ruolin collapsed to the ground. A shrill cry of Your Majesty, spare my life. It was Li Wei who framed me. The guards immediately stepped forward and dragged her away. Her cries gradually faded into the distance, completely reduced to my defeated opponent. The enfeoffment is complete. The Emperor immediately issued an order. Li Wei, I order you to start mass production of the divine medicine within 3 days. Send it to the front lines continuously to treat the soldiers. Your Majesty, this servant has something to report. The production requires precision equipment. The equipment is crude now. Mass production is extremely difficult. The Emperor frowned. I don't care what method you use. You must mass produce the required materials on time. Eunuch Li will fully cooperate with you. With that he turned and left. After the Emperor left, Eunuch Li's attitude towards me became even more respectful. He said with a smile, Spirit Medicine Master, congratulations, congratulations. If you have any needs in the future, feel free to command this humble servant. This humble servant will definitely cooperate fully. He paused. He asked indirectly, I wonder, Spirit Medicine Master, besides the divine medicine, are there any other brilliant ideas? For example, methods to strengthen the body and prolong life. I understood his intentions. I smiled faintly. Eunuch, you jest. Where is such a medicine in this world? A hint of disappointment flashed in the eunuch's eyes, but he didn't ask further. He still enthusiastically helped me prepare the materials. Although the Spirit Medicine Pavilion was nominally a palace bestowed by the Emperor, in reality it was monitored everywhere. I had nothing to do. I sorted through the belongings left by the former imperial concubines who lived here. When I moved an old wooden bed, my fingertip touched a foreign object in the gap of the bedboard. I took advantage of the fact that no one was around. I quietly dug into the gap with my fingertip. A yellowed and brittle piece of paper was pulled out by me. I quickly walked to the window. The handwriting came into view. Victory must be achieved through a solo kill to win the heart. To seek longevity, many in the harem die in vain. May the one who comes be cautious. Before, I only thought that the struggles in the deep palace were just concubines fighting for favor, and the schemes of the palace servants. But I never thought that the Emperor was so obsessed with the art of longevity, even willing to let many in the harem die in vain. This deep palace is far more dangerous than I imagined. Relying solely on divine medicine will not bring true freedom. Seeking survival is no longer enough. A hasty report suddenly came from the palace. The Empress is critically ill. The news spread throughout the court overnight. Imperial physicians from the Imperial Academy took turns to diagnose her, but all were helpless. It was difficult to even determine the cause of the illness. In the Imperial study, the Emperor smashed a teacup on the desk. His face was ashen. He sternly rebuked the Imperial physicians kneeling below. You bunch of good-for-nothings, the Empress only has a common cold, and you can't even cure it. What use do I have for you? The Imperial physicians kowtowed repeatedly in fear. The head physician trembled and replied, Your Majesty, please calm your anger. The Empress' symptoms are strange. Her complexion is pale. She is delirious, sometimes conscious, sometimes unconscious. Her pulse is erratic. It is definitely not a common cold. We are incompetent. We really can't find the root cause. We dare not prescribe medicine arbitrarily. The emperor's anger grew even stronger. His gaze swept across the hall. Suddenly he said in a deep voice, "Summon the spirit medicine master." A while ago I was led to the imperial study by the guards. Your servant Li Wei. Greetings, your majesty. The emperor took a step forward. He grabbed my wrist tightly. His tone was imperiously forceful. Empress Li Wei is critically ill. The imperial physicians are helpless. I order you to go to Cunning Palace immediately to diagnose and treat her. You must cure her. If the empress has even the slightest mishap, I will surely make you and everyone in the Imperial Academy pay with your lives. My heart sank, knowing the danger of this matter. I dared not refuse. I bowed and replied, "Your servant obeys your decree. But the empress' symptoms. Your servant can only do her best to diagnose and treat. I dare not guarantee a perfect outcome. Please forgive your servant's presumption, your majesty." What nonsense. Hurry up and go. The emperor roared sternly. He waved his hand signaling the guards to escort me to Cunning Palace. Leaving the imperial study, eunuch Li quietly followed. He whispered, "The matter of the spirit medicine master going to Cunning Palace is not simple. Be careful, don't get yourself into trouble." I nodded slightly. Stepping into Cunning Palace, a strong medicinal smell, mixed with a stifling musty odor assailed me. The once magnificent palace was now eerily deserted. The palace maids all looked terrified, not daring to even breathe loudly. The empress on the bed was emaciated, her face as pale as paper, her eyes tightly closed, her breath so weak it was almost imperceptible. A brocade quilt covered her neck, and a faint abnormal mark could be seen. I motioned for the palace maids to step aside. I walked alone to the bedside. I gently lifted the empress' sleeve. Several old ligature marks were clearly visible, shocking to behold. They were definitely not accidental. I took her wrist. As my fingertips touched her pulse, I frowned deeply. Her pulse was disordered and weak, with no signs of a common cold. Instead it was like long-term malnutrition, and a chronic drug-induced stupor. Your highness, wake up, I called out softly, gently pressing her philtrum with my fingertip. After a moment the empress slowly opened her eyes, her gaze unfocused. Seeing me she suddenly used all her strength to grab my hand tightly. Her fingertips were ice cold. Her voice was a mere whisper. "Save me." My heart trembled. I quickly leaned in. "Your highness, your servant. Tell me slowly, what exactly happened?" The empress slowly rolled her eyeballs, tears sliding from the corners of her eyes. He's gone mad. For the sake of longevity. Killed many people, I advised him. He locked me up here, he's a demon Taoist. The empress hadn't finished speaking. Her eyes went black, and she fainted again, but her hand still clutched my sleeve tightly. A thin layer of sweat had already appeared on my back. The emperor was addicted to elixirs, and even went so far as to harm the imperial concubines and imprison the empress. The secrets of this deep palace are far more cruel than I imagined. Walking out of Cunning Palace, eunuch Li was already waiting outside the door. Seeing me come out, he immediately stepped forward, and with a solemn expression pulled me, and walked quickly behind a secluded rockery. He whispered the situation of the empress after taking the spiritual medicine. "You saw it, didn't you? This old servant knows you are exceptionally intelligent, and can surely see the clues." I coldly warned him, my tone carrying a hint of probing. "Since eunuch already knows, why do you still ask me? The empress is not sick, but is being tortured and confined by his majesty, due to long-term medication, and malnutrition, right? His majesty's addiction to elixirs, and harming palace servants. These are things eunuch probably already knew." Eunuch Li sighed, his expression heavy. "To tell you the truth, his majesty has been addicted to elixirs for many years, and has listened to the slander of a demon Taoist, who said that using young palace women to refine elixirs could grant longevity. Over the years how many innocent women in the harem have died tragically in the elixir furnace." My heart sank, my tone solemn. After the empress advised him, she was imprisoned here by him, and tortured relentlessly. Eunuch Li's tone was urgent, his eyes full of anxiety. The empress is virtuous, and repeatedly advised his majesty, which angered his majesty, so she was confined to Cunning Palace, falsely claiming to have a cold, but in reality she is tortured daily. If this continues, the harem will sooner or later be drenched in blood. The ministers in the court are in a panic. The foundation of the late emperor will sooner or later be dragged down by his majesty and that demon Taoist. I was silent for a moment, and had already figured out his intentions. "Eunuch, you are looking for me today. Probably not just to tell me these things, right? If you have something to say, just say it." A glint flashed in Eunuch Li's eyes. He stepped forward, his tone earnest. "Spiritual medicine, you are a smart person. This old servant doesn't want to see the late emperor's foundation destroyed. Nor does he want to be buried alive. And now his majesty favors you, only because you can produce divine medicine. The day he no longer needs divine medicine, you will be pushed into the elixir furnace, and die tragically like those palace women." He extended his hand, firmly. "This eunuch wants you to save the empress. Help this eunuch collect evidence that the demon priest uses live people to refine pills. Evidence of colluding with court officials. Stabilize the court situation. This eunuch will help you navigate the palace. Stop his majesty from continuing to be foolish." I watched his outstretched hand, calmly withdrew my gaze. The tone was calm but with an undeniable firmness. "I can save the empress. But after it's done, I want the demon priest's head, to comfort those innocent people who died tragically. I want a blank imperial decree that can grant me true freedom. His majesty's personal imperial seal." Eunuch Li's eyes flashed with a hint of admiration. immediately nodded. Deal the matter of the blank imperial decree. This eunuch will find a way to handle it. I will not disappoint you. The demon priest's head will also be delivered to you personally. A deal is a deal. Eunuch Li breathed a sigh of relief. Quickly asked, what should we do now? How to save the Empress? How to bring down the demon priest? To save the Empress, we must first break His Majesty's obsession. You immediately send people to collect evidence that the demon priest uses live people to refine pills, evidence of colluding with court officials, especially proof that he deceived His Majesty into harming workers, while I pretend to be treating the Empress. Stay in the cunning palace. Learn more details about the demon priest's collusion with court officials. At the same time I will lull His Majesty and that demon priest into a false sense of security. Eunuch Li nodded repeatedly. His eyes were full of praise. A brilliant plan. I'll arrange it now. Be careful in the cunning palace. Do not reveal any clues. If you encounter any difficulties, immediately send a message to this eunuch. I nodded in agreement. After forming an alliance with Eunuch Li, I went to the cunning palace every day to treat the Empress, and secretly plotted with him. A plan to target the demon priest and rectify the court was brewing silently. Tonight I took the opportunity to deliver the divine medicine. Entered the imperial study. After bowing, deliberately showed a worried expression. Your Majesty, the Empress has been treated by this humble subject. Although her mind is gradually clearing, her body is still weak. This humble subject is uneasy. There is a plan that might help Her Majesty recover. The Emperor was holding the pills sent by the demon priest. He immediately looked up upon hearing this. His tone was anxious. Speak quickly. As long as the Empress can be cured, I will agree to anything. I walked forward slowly. My tone was respectful. Please Your Majesty hold a grand ceremony to worship heaven, to bring good luck to the Empress. Secondly, to pray for the soldiers on the front lines. Bless our great Zhou with a great victory on the border. Thirdly, the ceremony can help Your Majesty achieve merit and virtue soon. This hit the Emperor's sweet spot. He immediately beamed with joy. Decided. Good Li Wei, you are indeed meticulous. I approve. This ceremony to worship heaven will be your full responsibility. Make sure it is grand and magnificent. There must be no mistakes. Your subject obeys the decree. I bowed and retreated, walked out of the imperial study. Eunuch Li had already been waiting in the corridor. Seeing me come out, he immediately stepped forward and asked in a low voice, it's done. I nodded. His Majesty has agreed to hand over full responsibility to us. Next you will immediately contact the deputy commander of the Imperial Guard Zhao Yi, and the families of officials, whose daughters were sent to the alchemy room. Inform them about the grand ceremony. Eunuch Li's eyes flashed with a sharp glint. Don't worry, I'll arrange it right away. As for the Imperial Guard, I will use the excuse of preparing for the grand ceremony's security to bring in the old generals in the Imperial Guard who are loyal to the late Emperor, and quietly replace the confidants planted by the demon priest. I Chen Sheng warned, this matter is extremely secret. Do not reveal any clues. Also I'll go to the Cold Palace to meet Lu Ruolin. Stepping into the Cold Palace, in the dilapidated courtyard, Lu Ruolin was cowering in a corner acting mad. Seeing me enter, she lunged at me, scratching my sleeves with her nails and roaring, Li Wei, you ruined me. I am going to kill you. I pushed her away, crouched down and took out a bottle of dark liquid from my sleeve. I dangled it in front of her eyes, my voice icy. If you want revenge you should be looking for me. If not you then who? She grabbed her hair as if she were mad, her voice sharp and piercing. In my past life you destroyed everything I had. In this life you're blocking my path again. Li Wei, why are you always haunting me? I looked at her coldly without speaking. She panted, hatred surging in her eyes. You don't remember, do you? Of course you're so high and mighty. How could you remember? How many people you've inadvertently blocked? She laughed bitterly, tears mixed with dirt streaming down her face. We were in the same hospital. I was the director of the Tomorrow Star in surgery, and I personally said that the next head of department would be me. Then you came, and just by saving one important person, you became the talk of the hospital overnight. The dean praised you, the media interviewed you. Her voice grew sharper. I fought for 10 years, and you came for a year, and snatched away everything that should have been mine. I couldn't help but go to the director to argue. The director said if you have the ability go save someone too. She stared at me intently, her eyes almost overflowing with hatred. Then what? To earn merit, I risked doing a high difficulty surgery. I had an accident, I was suspended, investigated and finally had my license revoked. I lost everything, and you were promoted to deputy director. She suddenly reached out to snatch the medicine bottle. I withdrew my hand, looking at her coldly. This is a potent poison. On the day of the grand ceremony I took the opportunity to splash it on the Emperor. Kill him and you can get revenge. Perhaps you can regain your freedom. Lu Ruolin's eyes lit up, staring intently at the medicine bottle. This is really poison. You didn't lie to me. I have no reason to lie to a dying person. I sneered, and stuffed the medicine bottle into his hand. But if you fail, no one can save you. He clutched the medicine bottle, trembling all over, suddenly looked up at me again. His eyes were extremely complicated. Li Wei, why are you helping me? I stood up, looking down at him. I am not helping you. I turned and walked towards the door. I am just giving you a chance. What happened before? I don't distinguish right from wrong. But the medicine today, you choose yourself. After speaking I turned and left. Behind me Lu Ruolin's frantic laughter could be heard, piercing and desolate. A chance, I want a chance. Li Wei, you owe me. You all owe me. The pieces are in place. Back to Cunning Palace. The Empress was leaning on the couch. Her complexion had improved a lot. Seeing me come in, she quickly got up. Li Wei, you're here. I recently heard that His Majesty is going to hold a grand ceremony to worship heaven. Is there anything I can do? I helped her lie down and said gently, Your Highness, don't worry. The day of the grand ceremony is the day the sorcerer is brought to justice. At that time Your Highness will need to come forward, in front of all the civil and military officials, to accuse the sorcerer of his crimes. The Empress nodded heavily. Don't worry, I will personally expose the sorcerer's true face. Here I have. There is also the roster of workers who were sent to the alchemy room back then. It will be presented to all the officials at that time. Your Highness is wise and righteous. Thank you, Your Highness. I bowed in thanks. My heart became even more certain. This plan, we will win. The night before the grand ceremony, the sorcerer suddenly sent someone to summon me to the alchemy room in the western mountains. Stepping into the alchemy room, a pungent fishy smell hit me. The sorcerer sat on the couch, wearing a Taoist robe. Pretending to be profound, he looked at me. The spiritual medicine envoy heard that His Majesty was going to hold a grand ceremony to worship heaven, and you are fully responsible. This is truly a cause for celebration. I bowed and saluted, pretending to be humble. Taoist master, you flatter me. This humble subject is only doing her best to share His Majesty's worries. The sorcerer sneered. His tone was probing. This Taoist priest sees great potential in you. If you are willing to hand over the formula for the divine medicine, and join this Taoist priest in the path of Taoism, and cultivate diligently, I will help you and His Majesty achieve immortality together. Share in glory and wealth. How could my killing intent surge? Yet I remained respectful on the surface. Pretending to hesitate, Your Kindness, Taoist master, this humble subject dares not accept. The divine medicine formula concerns the lives of the border soldiers. This humble subject dares not hoard it. Please forgive me, Taoist master. A hint of impatience flashed in the demon Taoist's eyes. But he did not press further. If you are sensible, hand over the formula as soon as possible. Otherwise you will bear the consequences. I bowed and retreated, exiting the alchemy room, the hair on my fingertips. My eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Tomorrow will be the demon Taoist's death day. No need to endure any longer. On the day of the grand ceremony, the sky was clear and the air was crisp. The altar for sacrificing to heaven was set up solemnly and majestically. Banners fluttered. Civil and military officials were lined up on both sides. Imperial guards held swords, guarding the area around the altar. I saw eunuch Li leading Lu Ruolin into the crowd. Wearing the special ceremonial robes of the court, she stood to the side of the altar. His Majesty's auspicious time has arrived. Please accept the blessed divine water offered by this humble subject, praying for heaven's protection for Her Majesty the Empress' health. A great victory on the border. His Majesty's merits are complete, I said loudly, holding the jade bottle filled with divine water. Walking step by step onto the altar, the Emperor smiled and nodded, present it. The demon Taoist also narrowed his eyes. His gaze was fixed on the jade bottle in my hand. His expression showed a hint of vigilance. Walking to the center of the altar, to the designated position a few steps away from the Emperor and the demon Taoist, I looked up and exchanged a glance with eunuch Li. Then I suddenly raised my hand, and fiercely threw the jade bottle in my hand to the ground. The entire audience was instantly in an uproar. The Emperor's face sank. He sternly rebuked, Li Wei, what are you doing? Lu Ruolin, holding the medicine bottle with both hands, screamed and lunged towards the altar. I will kill you. Before she finished speaking, he suddenly raised his hand, and splashed all the liquid in the bottle towards the Emperor. The demon Taoist's expression also changed. He shouted sternly, protect His Majesty, there's an assassin. The Emperor was greatly alarmed. He suddenly retreated. The Taoists around the demon Taoist immediately stepped forward, shielding the Emperor behind them. The altar instantly descended into chaos. Everyone stay still. The deputy commander of the Imperial Guard sternly shouted and led his trusted men to surround the altar, separating the demon Taoist and his disciples from the Emperor and officials. Civilians step back. No one is allowed to approach His Majesty and the demon Taoist. The demon Taoist's heart tightened. I am His Majesty's confidant. How dare you stop me? The deputy commander of the Imperial Guard sneered, it's best to behave yourself. Now that there's an anomaly at the altar, this subordinate only knows to protect His Majesty, and knows nothing else. At this moment, the Empress, supported by a palace maid, slowly walked out of the phoenix carriage. Although her face was pale, her eyes were incredibly firm. Walked to the center of the altar, said with tears streaming down her face, Your Majesty, look clearly. This demonic priest is not an immortal at all. He refines pills with living people, and harms the innocent. Saying this, he raised his hand and handed over a list. This list contains the names of the Taoist priests involved in refining pills. Behind every name lies a wronged soul. Please Your Majesty to uphold justice for us. Several official consorts rushed out of the crowd, kneeling before the altar, weeping bitterly. Your Majesty, my daughter was selected for the pill room, and has been missing ever since. Her bones have turned to dust. Please Your Majesty to execute him. The demonic priest's followers were enraged. The officials were in an uproar. Discussions rose and fell. Eunuch Li stepped forward, took out a stack of letters from his sleeve, held them high above his head, and said sternly, Your Majesty, these are secret letters found in the demonic priest's room. They are his correspondence with the enemy generals at the border. He unfolded the letters, and read them word by word with powerful conviction. The letters clearly stated that he used pill refining as a guise to secretly collude with the enemy generals, and plot to seize the Great Zhou Empire. The so-called elixir of immortality was merely a deception he used to fool Your Majesty. The demonic priest was completely panicked, struggling to rush out, but was held back by the Imperial Guards. He roared, I am wronged. It's all a frame-up. Demonic priest, stop your sophistry. The ministers who had already been contacted by eunuch Li came forward one after another, kneeling on the ground, and shouted in unison, Your Majesty, the human and material evidence are all present. Please Your Majesty to execute the demonic priest, to rectify the court's discipline, and to appease the people's hearts. The emperor slowly sank onto the dragon throne, and waved his hand dejectedly. Go. Have the imperial guards immediately stepped forward, and press the demonic priest firmly to the ground. The Taoist priests involved in refining pills were also all captured, and thrown into prison. I walked slowly to the front of the stage, and bowed to the emperor and the officials, my voice firm. The demonic priest misled His Majesty's heart, and has been brought to justice today. This is due to Your Majesty's wisdom and the protection of your ancestors. From now on, treacherous officials will be removed and the court will be upright. The world will surely usher in a new era. The officials echoed in unison. Great Zhou's new era. Your Majesty is wise on. Your Majesty is wise. The grand ceremony concluded. The emperor was exhausted in body and mind, and fell seriously ill after returning to the palace. After the grand ceremony quelled the demonic priest's rebellion. Although the court's discipline was initially established, the demonic priest's remnants were spread throughout the court, and the hidden dangers were not removed. Eunuch Li and I entered the palace overnight, and met the emperor in the imperial study. At that time the emperor had just recovered from his serious illness. His face was still haggard. The demon cultists have been captured. However, those in the court colluding with the demon cultists have not been dealt with. Do you have a plan? I stepped forward, presenting the compiled confessions of the demon cultists and the list of implicated officials. With both hands, my tone was firm. Your Majesty, all the demon cultists have confessed. 17 officials colluded with him in alchemy, and harmed innocent people, from third-rank censors to local deputy magistrates. There is conclusive evidence for each of them. Eunuch Li bowed in agreement. Your Majesty, these people used the demon cultists to extort the people's wealth. They even sent their own maids to the alchemy chambers, in exchange for high positions and generous salaries. They deserve to die. I beg Your Majesty for authorization to carry out the purge today, to rectify the imperial court. The emperor looked through the list. His hands trembled with anger. He slammed the list onto the table. Villains, I was kept in the dark by these people. Granted, Li Wei, this matter is entrusted to you for full coordination. The imperial guards will be at your disposal. Make sure to catch them all. After we received the order, we turned and immediately began deployment. The next morning, the imperial guards mobilized throughout the city, arresting the implicated officials one by one according to the list. I personally oversaw the proceedings at the Dali Temple, supervising the trials throughout. After the trials were concluded, I summoned the commander of the imperial guards, Lu Ruolin, to assassinate me. The evidence of treason before the throne was conclusive. She was granted poisoned wine and executed immediately. There was no need to conceal the process. Let everyone see the consequences of assassinating the emperor and causing chaos in the palace. The commander of the imperial guards bowed and accepted the order. Your subordinate obeys. Not long after, the guards reported back. Lu Ruolin was still struggling wildly when she was taken to the execution ground. After being forcibly given poisoned wine, she screamed, Li Wei, I am not reconciled. Why did you lie to me? I picked up the teacup on the table, gently blew away the foam and said lightly, the path was his own choice. From the moment he decided to harm me, he should have expected this day. The matter of purging the remaining rebels. The dust has settled. The court is becoming increasingly clear. A few days later, the empress sent someone to summon me to her palace. By then she had already shed her phoenix robes, wearing a plain Zen robe. Li Wei, I have already written a memorial. I request to go to the royal Xian temple to pray for the country. Regarding the chaos in the palace, and the struggles in the court, I will no longer interfere. I bowed respectfully. My tone was respectful. Your Highness is enlightened. After this ordeal, staying away from the chaos and disputes of the palace, you can find peace and freedom. Your Majesty, considering your virtue, has decreed that you be honored as Empress Dowager de Yi. Xian Temple will provide for you with the highest respect. From now on you only need to focus on practicing Buddhism, and live a peaceful life. The Empress nodded with a smile. Thank you, and thank your Majesty as well. If it weren't for you, I am afraid I'll never escape that cage until I die. Those tragically dead workers can't rest in peace either. Your Highness need not thank this servant. This servant merely did what she should have done. After this incident, His Majesty has completely awakened. He is no longer obsessed with elixirs of immortality. He presides over court affairs daily, diligently and conscientiously. He often summons me to the palace to seek counsel. On this day in the imperial study, His Majesty was looking at the disaster reports from the prefectures and cities. Li Wei, the court is now stable, but epidemics are frequent in the regions. There are countless wounded soldiers at the border. The people are displaced. Do you have any good strategies? I pondered for a moment, and replied to His Majesty in a deep voice. This servant has 3 strategies. Design the market bureau, promote the cultivation of beans and establish the benevolent medical hall, treat the poor for free and expand the production of divine medicine. Set up a place for wounded soldiers at the border, to stabilize the morale of the army. His Majesty immediately struck the table and approved the proposal. Excellent plan, every word hits the mark. I approve. Prepare quickly. Eunuch Li bowed and replied. This servant obeys the decree. Eunuch Li excitedly went to the benevolent medical hall, holding the good news reports from various places. A good news for the spiritual pharmacist. The method of smallpox inoculation has been successfully promoted in the capital region. No new cases have been reported so far. The benevolent medical hall has also been established in 3 prefectures and 5 counties. The people are all clapping and cheering. I looked at the victory report, and the corners of my mouth turned up. Thank you for your trouble, eunuch. In the future, to promote reforms, I will still have to rely on eunuch to mediate in the court. Coordinating various forces. Amidst the busyness, I quietly went to the deepest part of the most secluded plum grove in the palace. I erected an unnamed monument. I collected the belongings of the palace maids, who died in the demon Dao's alchemy furnace during these days, and buried them under the monument. I squatted in front of the monument, and whispered softly, "Rest in peace."